We're here with Mike Wilkins, and we're going to be doing a series of interviews about the evolution of a scuba instructor. Now, these are going to be personal stories, personal diatribes, personal discussions, however you want to describe them, from a number of different scuba instructors about their journey. So, Mike, when did you first become a diver?
I think it was 2003 was when I first got interested in diving. We went to my daughter's wedding and went on a vacation after that, and we wanted to go diving, so we got certified ahead of that.
And do you remember your first scuba instructor?
I sure do. I still talk to him.
Yeah.
In fact, he knows that I'm an instructor now.
Oh, that's the guy you ran into over at Blue Grotto that day.
That's correct.
Right, right. So once you got certified, what kept you diving?
For me, it's a pleasurable experience, and at the time I got certified, I was in a very stressful job, and just the peacefulness and the ability to go somewhere where there's no phones, no any outside influences other than the beauty of nature was really what got me interested. And once I started doing it, that allure kept bringing me back.
Yeah. Didn't you start getting into photography and such a little bit?
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
And that was another reason, because I could bring stuff back with me from the dives that I took. I actually went down to the Caymans and saw Kathy Church and got some lessons from one of the best photographers in the world.
Wow. When did you decide to become an instructor?
That was about three years ago. I was already a dive master, and I decided that I wanted to keep teaching and teach scuba diving.
Yeah.
And so I actually walked in here and asked about the possibility of working as a dive master. And what I found out, a little bit to my dismay, was that I was not a good dive master. And so having that opportunity to go out with people who were teaching and learn a little bit more about how to be a good dive master made me want to be an instructor.
Yeah, a lot of times we hear that discussion from people that are becoming instructors, that maybe their dive master training was a little lacking or not what it could have been. Some things some are absolutely fantastic, that sort of thing. What kind of role models have you had along the way?
Well, my first was Chris, who was my instructor, and I just wanted to dive like he dived, and that was be competent at neutral buoyancy and comfortable and smooth and efficient, like I was watching other people, and I knew I wasn't there. And then I put a camera in my hands, and I had to kind of start all over again, because now I'm carrying something.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to pay attention to all of those things, and so that the photography thing really made me want to keep going.
Okay. So did you serve any kind of internship when you were doing your dive master training?
Not really. There actually wasn't an internship thing available when I was doing the dive master training. I was fortunate because they offered us a class to go through from open water. Once we got certified, go do advanced nitrox, emergency first responder, rescue, and dive master. And for me, it was more about getting good at the skill so that I could carry my camera without messing myself and everybody else in the reef up, that I could maintain neutral buoyancy and do some things. So I did that, and then I took the cavern course as well, which even gave me so much more confidence because of the skills that you have to learn with that.
Right, right. So at what point and what really made you take that leap into the instructor realm?
What made me take that leap was going out as a dive master and assisting other instructors with the students that they were teaching, and at different levels, including some rescue courses, being the quote victim in those situations, and doing role plays, and just made me want to be on the other side of it, teaching those entities.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we kind of talked about this earlier. Was there any kind of like a epiphany moment during your dive master training? I think you used the term aha moment.
Yeah, I there were several actually, and during the dive master training we had to do, and the rescue training, which were the two to me were because we had to actually go out and find somebody who was lost, and do all of those things and I started thinking about there's a lot more to this than just getting certified as an open water diver. And when those things started to come together, I realized I was becoming a better diver, I was making better decisions, and that it was something that I'd be able to do, for the rest of my life. And that kind of was my aha moment, was realizing that my skill was improving by leaps and bounds as we were going through the courses.
Yeah. So you became an instructor 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
Something like that. And so is there a difference in the outlook on when you were given that card and a pat on the back, and now you're in the reality of being an instructor?
There was a huge difference, because you go from assisting other people to managing the show, and that's a big leap, because now you're responsible for finding your students, marketing your business, taking care of everything, your credentials, your paperwork, the equipment.
Your reputation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's something that, as a dive master, I got certified as a dive master very early in my career. And to be honest with you, I was not a good dive master. And so when you talk about that, kind of goes to that aha moment when I started going out with the instructors that would eventually become my instructors. That aha moment was the difference between you're a horrible dive master and you're learning how to be a better one.
Yeah.
And that's what made me want to be an instructor, because I saw how much more there was to go into it. You're not a tank driver arounder.
Yeah. Well, there's some other vernacular for that. And I guess something that I've seen, and maybe you can kind of confirm this or not, it's kind of interesting, because all the way up until we become instructors, it seems like we're learning how to dive. And now all of a sudden when we become an instructor, it's about not learning how to dive, but learning how to teach somebody to dive.
And that was never more evident than when I became an instructor. And if I had to say anything to anybody, I would say this: anything that you learn basic skills. Once you learn those basic skills, you start applying them, and that's when the real learning begins. And so those first 10, 15, 20 students that I did or worked with, my knowledge went from here to here because I was able to apply a lot of the concepts that I use, and things that I was told or shown started going ding, ding, ding.
Use the slate. Use the force, use the slate. How about cost versus rewards?
The rewards there, I can't put into terms. For me, the satisfaction is way more than I could ever have hoped for. And it wouldn't have mattered to me how much money I sunk into it. I'm still getting more back. Because for me, seeing someone get out of the training what they've put into it and more, and be a better diver than I was when I went through my open water training is very, very satisfying.
Yeah. So in closing, if you look out there, and we're going to put this on YouTube, any words you might give to the wise that are thinking about their becoming an instructor, maybe have that in a career path for themselves?
Yeah, I think if you're thinking about becoming an instructor, visit an IDC center and talk to the professionals about what's involved, and ask them if you can go with them on a dive and watch or assist, depending on what your skill level is. It will change your perspective on everything, from the types of equipment that you wear and use and how you use it, to how you assist the instructor or work with the instructor around and with students and other people. It'll be an epiphany for most people who haven't been around that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And a lot of times we comment in instructor training and even dive master training that when you move into those two realms, into that professional realm, you're moving from, it sounds corny, but that side of the mask over there to this side of the mask over here, where you're in that teaching role or in that ultimate responsibility role.
Right.
So.
And it's something you have to think about all the time.
Yeah. Well, folks, we appreciate Mike visiting with us. You'll see him around, I'm sure. We're going to be visiting with some other instructors, try to talk to some folks that have been instructors for years, maybe some people that have just gotten out of their IDC IEs, and talking about a lot of different realities of being a scuba instructor, and not just the pictures of everybody smiling, blowing bubbles in the Caribbean. So stick with us, and hope to see you again soon for another episode of the evolution of a scuba instructor. Thank you.